Hello and welcome to chapter 161 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing this evening?
Not too shabby. Just got done recording for Walk Through the Multiverse. You and I had some really miscommunication with Wednesday,
Hilarious.
and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Um, which yes, potentially I will be covering the show Wednesday in the future. And then when that happens, I'll get you on and we'll take care of that. But yeah, no. Finishing up Last of Us, we got 2 episodes left, and then I'll be back. The show will be back to Saturdays. Animation Nation will be back to Wednesdays. But other than that, it's been a very hectic day. I had or after work, I had a dentist appointment, and I rolled right into that into recording, and then rolled right into that into recording this. So
Man,
who needs a family, right?
look at you earn that paycheck.
But how are you doing today, Trev?
I'm doing okay, Joe. This weekend I thought was going to be a relaxing weekend for me. I had no tests. I finished all that stuff last couple of weeks. But no, this was all baby weekend stuff, putting together cribs and change tables and other things of
You're
that
so
nature.
close. It's so
Yeah,
exciting.
it was. So I'm kind of relaxed a bit today. I only had one class, so it was a good little recharge today. And uh, I had one class. I went into a doctor's appointment, and then here we are today. Besides that, there wasn't a lot going on DC wise. I'm excited. Probably the most enjoyable thing episodically was the Smallville episode for me.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I can't wait to talk to you a little bit about the Flash. I did share some of those comments on the GUA crossover that we had this past Friday. That was fun time, and also patrons be on the lookout because the DC films through the years, The Return of the Swamp Thing is edited. It's gonna go in the can tonight for you guys for tomorrow. So check that out. That was a fun discussion myself
Yeah,
and Joe
that
had.
was good.
Before we get into the Aquaman test screening kerfuffle, let's do the network plugs and get those out of the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is a walk through the Multiverse with Joe. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays is the Animation Nation podcast. On Sundays is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 8 shows on the GUA podcast network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a dollar tier and a $5 tier. Dollar tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing, you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes like I just teased earlier to the patrons, myself and Joe's DC films through the years as we go through all the DC films starting from Batman 1966. And like I said, I'm dropping the Return of the Swamp Thing tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. What is the next film? Is it Batman 89? I think
I
so.
believe so, yeah.
I think so. So yeah, I'm really excited to look at that when we talk about that next month. But like, not only is myself and Joe going through the DC films through the years, we have Chris and Brent going through their Marvel MCU rewatch. They actually hit Ant Man this month, which
Mhm.
was really poetically done. It was perfectly timed
Serendipitous, if you will. Yeah.
For Ant Man and Quantumania. So check them out as they go through all the entirety of the MCU, not only the films, but the one shots as well. We also have Katie going through Star Wars comics with her husband. We have Clay going through shows for the first time, and we have Joe's Multiverse Minutes. We thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, it's always greatly appreciated. Helps other people find the shows, and that's always a good thing. So, Joe, with all that out of the way, let's get into the show. And
Yeah.
apparently, Aquaman is a dumpster fire, Joe.
Yeah.
according to the skippers anyway. Not the greatest words. I want to talk about some of them because they are. It's a little funny to me. Um, Viewer Anon said, "I'll be honest, we're half a dozen test screenings in, and it's not looking great. I've consistently heard over the last year and a half a year or so, that it's boring, not as good as the first, and potentially one of the worst DCEU movies."
Like, I know I remember talking about it, I think beginning of the year, how Flash and Aquaman were going to be like the big tests.
Yeah,
Basically, Shazam. I'm not gonna like we weren't writing off Shazam, but Shazam wasn't connected fully to the other universe, and
yeah,
Blue Beetle was potentially its own thing. I mean, we're hearing great things about Flash. We've got some notes on that. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. But the fact that Aquaman, after being a $1 billion movie before, is coming here and is potentially being a dumpster fire underwater,
gasoline, gasoline.
that still doesn't work.
Yeah,
Um,
Dark
but
Side. He caught water on
just
fire in Justice League War, so I'm going
okay,
to go with
that's
that.
fair. No, it sucks. It sucks that it's getting all these screenings and it's just people are not liking it. But I also am kind of thinking that, and we'll get into this a little bit with Shazam. People just I don't think care. Like Flash is having that past connection
Hmm.
with with Michael Keaton, but as for Aquaman, Shazam, they have no reason to watch it. This was kind of what we feared once the new slate was announced, and it's like no one cares. Like it definitely seems like they're they're holding this movie to a higher standard than they probably should be, or they are just looking for any possible flaw to make this movie terrible so that it will then fail and then it will free up Momoa for maybe Lobo, potentially something else. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I really want this movie to be I'm not gonna say a success, but I mean, I would love for it to be a success, but I would love for it to be good. Like
Hmm.
this is potentially the final movie of the the last DC extended universe, and they're saying it's boring. Like
Yeah,
that's not good.
That's not great, Joe, listening to what they say. Like you said, I just want it to be good. I want to enjoy it. I really enjoyed the first film. I thought it was great. Uh, there's a, there's no, you don't have to worry about. Apparently, Amber Heard is not the issue for some people because she's not in the film enough. I honestly like. Like I said, I really enjoyed the first one. It made a lot of money. Like you said about Momoa, potentially could this free him up to jump to be Lobo? I don't know if he wants to go out on a low note, but
Exactly.
the way they talked about this too, of the film being Momoa teaming up, like Arthur teaming up with his brother and having to stop Black Manta. That all seems super interesting to me when they were laying it out. So I don't
Yeah.
know how it could have went off, but there were talks of like them changing the script partway through filming. Some others scoopers have said stuff like Big Screen Link said, "It brings me no joy to back him up and tell you that test screenings for the film have not been good. Really hoping Juan fixes this before December." And then they said, "I heard something that almost never happens in test screening happened with this movie," and they were talking about people walked out. So
Yeah, that's not great, especially for a
no,
test screening.
yeah, that is definitely not great at all, and it does worry me with the potential changes that they've underwent throughout this, like after they're done, like finishing filming. I'm I don't know. I hope that this. I feel like this has left a sour taste in James Wan's mouth for
Oh, I
sure.
bet. Also, can I just say that I know insider viewing on was saying that this is potentially one of the worst DC EU movies. This still got made and still is going into theater, so it's not the worst one because apparently the worst one was Batgirl. Just saying, because that guy can't and just don't.
Yeah, yeah. This doesn't sound the greatest though. It says like
No,
Black
yeah, no, I'm
Manta.
just trying to make a joke about it.
No, I know. I was like Black Manta was. I just read this and it shocked me. It said Black Manta was possessed by an old king via the Trident. And they needed royal blood. The old king needed royal blood to resurrect his old kingdom.
Wait, that was what was that?
That was a previous story before they changed it.
Huh. I mean,
So
it sounds interesting, but
I don't know how it goes forward from the previous one. Like Black Manta already had enough motivation for the vengeance. Like he was already posted, and you had him with the doctor that knew stuff about
yeah,
research
I was
Aquaman.
gonna,
I figured you would go with that, but if that it just it's a little nerving. Like you said, this is supposed to be the end of DCEU, and you wouldn't want it to go out with a whimper. And plus, if you're Peter Safran, you want this to be successful as well because you're behind this.
yeah,
This
he's
is
got his
one
name
of the
attached to this one.
this and Shazam we'll talk about later.
Ugh.
The projections of Shazam are not great. So uh S Bubs, you're the greatest. S Bubs says Black Manta finds the wish rock from Wonder Woman 84. Just
Um,
don't do what Wonder Woman did with her wish and you'll be fine. Nobody
right,
can call the cops on you. You'll I don't even know if taking over the world. No.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
just
I don't know. I'm hoping this. Well, and I can't say that it's just hearsay because you know multiple scoopers are saying the same thing.
yeah, they usually try to one up each other, not team up. So
Correct. So
uh
I'm hoping. I mean, I hate to say it, but like I hope they can fix it. But at the same time, like, are they legit? The movie is what month is this? February. The movie is 10 months away.
yeah.
Like it's actually gonna be less. And so are they gonna be able to get reshoots in and get everything done? I mean, I know reshoots tend to take week, week and a half to two, but still like
You gotta
you
set
have to do
everything
the
back up,
reshoots, then
especially with the
re-edit, and then do the VFX, get the movie all together, and then potentially show it again to more screen. Like I don't know how film works. I don't know how all this stuff works, but it definitely feels like they are gonna be cutting it down to the wire, and that's. But then potentially that could be a good thing if they're doing test screenings now, and they've been doing test screenings for a while.
yeah.
You get the bad out, and then get the new stuff in. I don't
I
know.
don't know how much new you're gonna be able to shoot with what's coming here
Yeah.
in the
So I mean,
deadline.
and again, minimal. I mean, minimal time. Yeah. If you start to break it down, Nathan, like it's just you. They can do it. It's just gonna be this really tight schedule.
And like Espov said, it's already been delayed a full year. Like, would they push it back again? I don't think they will because of the start of DCU and where
But
they said that this flows into it. I don't think so. I think that the DCU is starting new. I
but
don't. He
it
didn't.
it
James
could.
Gunn.
But
James Gunn didn't talk about Aquaman much at all when
that's
he was
true.
talking about that.
But there's nothing coming out in 2024.
Yeah,
So potentially they could push us back, say to a early summer show or even a late spring, like, and that would give them enough time to fix any problems, do whatever reshoots they have to do, and still put it out and not have to butt up with Superman Legacy, which is coming out in June of 2025. You still have that full year break between the
yeah, but we
end
don't know what
of
shows
DCU.
if there's any show through DCU that will
Creature,
be out.
yes, the Creature Commandos should probably be out. I'm assuming beginning of 2025. I
Or
know
maybe
why or
sometime in 2024. It could be sometime in
possible could
20.
be end of 2024, but I don't know.
So it is interesting. I don't know if they had the time with the VFX with the underwater work as well. I don't know if they had the time to go back and shoot that much if you want to keep that deadline, like S Bob says in the chat. It may be possible that you push it back again. I don't know with this what to do with the start of DCU, but you don't, like I said before with Saffron, you don't want two duds going into your start of your DCU with Aquaman and Shazam. So like
Well, I mean, Shazam is coming out in a few weeks
but those are the
right now.
last two that'll be attached to him going into
Does he not have his name attached to Flash?
No,
Oh,
no, he was not. That's his producing company handled Aquaman, the first Aquaman, and the first Shazam. And while the
okay.
first Shazam didn't make bank, there was a really modest budget, and so it at least tripled its money. So,
Yeah.
and you think of it where it was sandwiched to, it did
Right.
pretty good for where it was placed. Here, it's like I don't want to get into that until we get into that.
We'll get to that here.
So, yeah, I
Literally
don't
right now,
know.
actually.
I don't know if Lobo is what's on deck. I think he could play both, depending on how good you do your Lobo costume. But I don't know.
And
Maybe he
that's
doesn't.
assuming we get more Aquaman.
Yeah,
Even
that's what I
this
think.
could
Or
be the
maybe
final Aquaman, and then again, like I said, it frees him up to do whatever.
And you could hold Aquaman for a little while, and then bring Jason Momoa in again in 5 years as Aquaman showing
Correct.
up in the Justice League film. You don't have to show Aquaman in any of these either other films and projects you have, so you can hold him. Same thing as Wonder Woman. I don't think they plan on showing Wonder Woman, so you may do it that way. I don't know. I think Superman Legacy is going to be really showing us, like, will let us know what's going on in terms of who's already established. We know Batman is with the Brave and the Bold, but it will give us an idea of, are there more heroes out there? Are there less?
Yeah, because we don't know what
So
the back half of chapter one will be, so
yeah,
we'll
and
see.
maybe we'll get more of that. So yeah, very, very excited to see if this is going to be what Scooby are talking about or not. But we got to wait until December at the very earliest.
Nathan's got a point here. Aquaman versus Kermit the Frog, $1 billion movie. I'd see it a couple times.
But in reality, if Aquaman has a trident, can he control Kermit the Frog? So isn't this just a moot point? Isn't Kermit the Frog another one of his amphibious warriors?
Mm,
I don't know if Aquaman controls frogs. I'm not sure. I think so.
don't I've never seen him control a frog, but
Worth a thought.
I
Worth a
don't know.
thought. Before we get into another part of the show, we'll go on to the DC news roundup. Let's take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, let's. Espov says he half controls him since they're half on land. And Bobby Boots said, "Swamp creature. He's got free will." I don't know. Tabble's in up in the water, so maybe when they're out of the
But
water, they have free
here's
will. But when they're in the water, they are controlled by Aquaman. That's what we're
here's
gonna
the thing
go.
though. It's got to be the puppet. So it can't be like Muppet Babies Kermit where it's a cartoon. It's the puppet. So it's a guy there doing it the entire
Oh,
time.
well, then he's screwed. It's not going to last 5 seconds. It's arm chopped off, and it's Kermit the Frog's going to be
I
roasting
love it.
over shit on fryer. But
I love it.
I was thinking frog. Sorry, my bad. uh, ju-
The bad thing is all I'm thinking of is Kermit the Frog jumping around in the Muppet Treasure Island movie, and he's like swinging the sword around.
oh
It's
man.
all in my head right now.
The things we go to on the show sometimes. Uh, Joe, we have a new trailer for Shazam: Fury of the Gods from new trailer for China,
Yeah.
and new box office projections as well. Um, did you get a chance to look at this trailer? I
I
thought it was a lot
I
better than
I
what it
did. I
was.
watched it literally just before we got before we got on the air. A lot of this is more of a I don't want to say character trailer, but definitely a lot of action. We saw
Mhm.
a lot more creatures that are going to be in this movie, and
Which
not
I
just the
love.
giant dragon, which
Yeah.
is cool. Um, Looked good.
Yep.
A lot of new scenes.
I'm really excited to see this. I thought it was some cool back and forth. I did like the scene where Shazam was telling the rest of the family that they were getting hunted down
Mhm.
from by the daughters of Atlas. So I liked. There was a couple things there that I thought were really cool. And I did laugh when he opened that one door and he's like, "Nope, not in there." Closed the door and went back out. I had a chuckle for that. So I'm excited about that. And like we talked about earlier, the projections aren't that great for Shazam: Fury of the Gods. It's projected to earn between 43 and 52 million dollars domestically. And just for comparison, the first Shazam did 53.5, and Black Adam did 67 million. So
That's on their first weekends, right?
yeah,
I I know this is low. I know 43 million is low. Hell, 52 is low,
yeah.
especially compared to the 53.5 that the first one got. Now,
I've seen other projections in the 30s, like around
ooh,
Morbius.
really?
So yeah, yeah,
Well, and that's the other thing. Like we've been talking, in the chats. I think mm, I'm one of the few of us that has actually gotten our tickets
I
already.
have not gotten our tickets yet, and
Yeah, I know
just
Chris hasn't
because
gotten his.
I checked the theater too, there's barely any guy, it's not like Ant-Man.
When I when so I got two stories. When I went to first story when I bought the tickets, I was the only one in that theater, and I
Yeah,
haven't looked to see if anyone has bought any more. But currently, I am the only one in that theater. Now, I
okay.
guarantee when it gets closer to movie
Yes,
time,
more people will buy.
more people will buy. Second story. So, I'm trying to buy the tickets, trying to see who all of my family members want to go. My girlfriend has been kind of passing. I think she's potentially done with most comic book movies right now, which I don't blame
Yeah,
her. The last decade has just been swamped with comic book movies. But I'm asking my kids, and I asked my daughter if she wants to go. She's like, yeah. And I asked my girlfriend's daughter if she wanted to go, and her response was, "Yeah, I like to see what DC's doing right now." I'm like, "What the hell, kid? Like,
wrong time to jump in, kid.
why why are why are you birthing me? Stop it!"
Wait 6 more months.
But yeah,
Why don't you jump in with the Flash?
it was classic. But I mean, I took her
Oh,
to go see the first one, so like, it
yeah.
was just
It was the first one was really enjoyable.
first one was
Like
good.
I was shocked with the monster stuff they did up in the boardroom. I'm
Oh yeah,
shocked that
when
seen
that
that far.
happened, because when the movie came out, she was like 9. I'm like, "Hey, so let's go get popcorn real quick. Hey, let's go to the bathroom. It's fine." Like I knew it was coming, and I knew it was kind of potentially scary. So I got her out of there until it came back in, and then
Writing down these dad moves for
oh
future
yeah, well that's
use.
it's one of those things where I mean I see these movies first potentially because I want to see them first.
Yeah.
Um, but for reasons like this, when it gets to a point and when the kids are young enough that I know that could potentially be frightening. All right, well, hey, we're gonna go jump out real quick.
Yeah.
Let's be safe.
That's pretty good call there, Joe.
So just
I mean, like I
keep that
said,
in the back of your mind.
I'll write it down. I'll write down every bit of information I get. I'm still really excited to see this film. Like I said, I really
Yeah,
enjoyed the first film.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping word of mouth will help it out by Saturday at least. But potentially, this could be bad. This could
Yeah,
actually not get the box office, not actually do good, like do as good as the first one, which would suck.
yeah. Because the first one didn't do good, you had a built-in understanding why, where it was sandwiched between $2 billion Marvel movies. So
But this is also sandwiched between a ton of stuff coming out in March. We've got Creed this week, Fast and Furious. No, that's in May.
yeah,
What's
there's
I
a
know
whole bunch, but this
Dungeons
is
and
like the
Dragons is
third
coming
week.
out.
Yeah, yeah,
This one, and then there was something else. I think at the end of March. But like there's a March is pretty stacked month, and this is the beginning of the year, like the year. So I mean, potentially this being sorry, this goes back to what I was saying before about how the fans aren't as thrilled about seeing these movies
knowing this.
because everything's getting get wiped out by 2025.
Yeah,
So
I
why I was hoping that they would be able to still just go watch it and enjoy these films, but it's starting to sound like no, they just people just don't care anymore. Fans are they know that they're not going to get a continuation to this stuff, so why bother continuing on? You know,
I know one thing. If this does the numbers they're projecting, don't look for a Shazam solo film for a long time.
it's going to be a minute.
He's going to show up in team ups, even if they cast a new person in DCU. He will not have his own solo film for quite a
Yeah,
while, just because of the performance. That's definitely certain. Okay, Joe. More positive news on the DC side. Apparently, everyone's buzzing about the Flash. David Zaslav says what was the exact quote? It's a good one. It's a good one. So that's rave reviews coming from him. But the Flash will screen its movie in its entirety at CinemaCon in April, more than 6 weeks before the movie comes out.
Also,
Uh,
you factor in the fact, Gunn saying that it's potentially the best comic book movie he's ever seen. Like, you start getting in these great comments from these creators that potentially could be great. It would be good.
yeah, Nathan says the Flash will have good box office
And
because of Batman 89. I think it was
exactly,
because
and
of
that's
that
kind of what I said before.
and Andy Muschietti's storytelling, directing style. I think it's like you're going to see uh, something really good there. But I will agree, they're really tapping into nostalgia, just like No Way Home did.
Yep.
So you're just incorporating old, like built-in DC lore. So I think that's going to be really great. The thing that makes me nervous, Joe, is leaks, scenes getting out, endings getting spoiled. I really hope the security for this event, this thing is top notch. I really hope they take people's cell phones. They're not uh, they're totally relentless. Because I don't want to get on YouTube the night after and see.
You don't want a Campia situation with no, like it was
Yeah,
with No
well,
Way
not
Home.
even that. Like, I'm afraid that someone might get like actual video clips of the film and get them out on Twitter. So I'm hoping that they're really good with their security if they're going to show this film in its entirety.
Yeah. No, and uh,
Another test for DZ. They didn't know it. Nobody scooped them on the DCU Chapter One whole slate announcement. So
yeah,
maybe they got a better
it
relationship with
was,
the scoopers.
and that is a big thing, and maybe because Gunn is literally calling people out
Yeah.
when they would do something like that, so they could potentially not do that. So I keep saying potentially. I don't know why. Potentially, I say that no, I'm just doing it purposely.
One more. One more.
Um, Potentially. Uh, no, this one is one of those things where I can see a few things coming out. Like I can see a few, maybe get a couple of screenshots, maybe get. I don't know if there'll be actual video, but I could definitely see people, some scoopers, you know, talk about the whole movie and revealing the whole plot, and that sucks, especially since people who don't know, like, I hate to say it, and I don't want to like l- throw anybody on the bus, but I know a lot of things for this movie,
Hmm.
so it's one of those things where I could pick out if they are being truthful or not, and I definitely will not be like talking about that. But it's one of those things where if it does come out, it's good. I would find it devastating because
Yes.
there's so much that's going to be in there that people will like, that reading it on a Twitter post because this scooper wanted to be the first one to say it. God, that's stupid.
Yes. And if it gets spoiled by a trailer they put out, then fine, Danny. They did it
That's a
to
trailer. That's
themselves.
a different thing.
But like, don't be doing the leaks. I really hope they're really good with their security on this one because, like I said, I was impressed that no one leaked the DCU slate.
But that was
That was
also
the
the day
first test.
before, and so it was a matter of, hey, we're trusting you with this. You literally just got to
Oh
keep quiet
yeah,
for 12 hours, and then you can talk all you want. But until then, hush up. This is 6 weeks before.
I know, but I'm hoping that first of all, people have to sign NDAs. But not only that, there's no cell phones. The cell phones are taken and
I
they're
just
checked going in. That's something I hope has happened for
It's
this.
just one of those
Just
things where I want repercussions.
yes,
If somebody actually leaks something, you're not getting asked back.
yes.
You're done for like 3 movies.
You're like you. So
You lost your trust.
you're saying Campia should have been shunned for a while.
He should have been,
Hell yeah.
especially for those leaks from No Way Home. Like I don't.
And
Hmm,
Espeff says, I think if anyone leaked it, they could have probably tracked them down since there were only so few
correct.
people. That's the other thing, yes, but there was a select few, and you don't want to get called out by James Gunn on Twitter
Oh no,
like
he'll
that. But this is
back it up.
different too. They're like scoopers. Some scoopers go through Reddit pages looking for people saying anonymous accounts that I was at a test screening of da, and then tried to bring it to light. So I'm just hoping that somehow this can stay quiet. I doubt it will. I have a feeling there's going to be some stuff out there. So get your filters up now. That's my basic suggestion. Is
Yeah,
make sure you have your filters on so that you aren't
definitely do the
spoiled.
filters because you know that people are going to be sharing things. Like
Yes,
things
but
will get out there within those 6 weeks, and if you don't want to know, if you want to go in blind, which I would suggest,
yes.
it's gonna be you're gonna be running through a landmine those 6 weeks.
Agreed. And something that came out, but this was in a TV spot, was a pretty cool first look at Sasuke Supergirl.
Yeah,
I love the suit, Joe. I thought it was fantastic. Uh, I think this is might be better. This is better than Superman's suit in the DCU. I love it. So, what do you think about that?
it looks amazing.
Hmm.
And I like I saw this some months ago.
Hmm.
Again, had to keep my mouth shut. But no, this suit looks amazing. I can't wait to see her on the big screen flying around. And I mean, we got the
A
trailer,
little tiny morsel of it, but still,
uh-huh, but we
I
got it.
we got it. I can't wait for this film. Moving on, Joe. The HBO Max has sold the DC Boys Dead Detectives to Netflix. Basically, because their justification for it is that it doesn't fit the plans of James Gunn's DCU.
Fine.
It's just
I want
smart.
this. Like this is smart. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where, hey, over here on HBO Max, we are telling a multi-layered story, going through all of these movies, TV shows, video games,
Hmm.
animated. Yep, I know. I can't roll my eyes hard enough for that one.
Yeah.
So this Dead Boy Detectives is moving forward. It doesn't fit with our narrative. Move it to this other streaming service. They've
Yeah.
already got a good base over there with Sandman over on Netflix.
Yeah.
So it can't hurt to potentially put a few more stuff on there.
I couldn't agree more. And to that vein, also on Amazon Prime recently, Justice League Action, the animated show,
Oh
is out
yeah.
there now
Nice.
with Kevin Conroy as Batman and a lot of other old DC animated universe voice actors. So, it's a smart thing, Joe. When you sell your content, if nobody's consuming it, or if you think you can get more for it, like you weigh cost benefits here. And same thing here. You sell this. If it's not going to fit your plans, don't just scrap it. There's another
Exactly.
revenue source. So smart times over at the DC right now. Uh,
Which kind of makes me a little more hopeful
mhm.
for Keanu Reeves' Constantine. Like that could be. I know we had talked about that last week about how that could potentially be Elseworlds stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying you have to sell it to like Netflix, but you can sell it to
No,
like
but you can get
Prime,
somebody
or
get yeah.
you can get another service that could back this and maybe even put it in theaters. I mean, look,
Yeah.
we had Netflix the last couple months, heck even Apple TV Plus. These streaming services are now having these high budget movies. Glass Onion, the one with Adam Sandler. Nope, nope.
Uncut
Ryan
Gems?
Reynolds and
Oh,
Will
no.
Ferrell. It was the Christmas Carol one. I can't remember what it was called.
Can't
But
remember it.
yeah, but like both of those movies were in theaters for a week, and then a month later was on their streaming service. So you could potentially do that where it's in theaters for a week, limited time, that's it, and then it will go directly to the streaming service that bought it.
Yep.
If you have that streaming service, great. Now you have access to that property.
Yes, like that could definitely go that way. I think constantly, even you could have other people financing it, and then it could be
Mhm.
an Elseworlds story just under the DC banner like that. So there's a lot of potential here. Like I said, it's just a smart thing to be adding to your revenue source, especially when you're you were in as much trouble. Like I read that they've already knocked down 7 billion in debt since Discovery took over.
Oh, nice.
Uh, SPub says you can actually watch a lot of Netflix movies in theaters the week before they release. They just don't advertise it for some reason.
I didn't know that because I didn't see him advertise it.
Yeah, same. Uh, James Gunn has confirmed that Economist is going to return. I don't know how this was even a story while I was doing the news roundups because we already got, we were told we're getting a Peacemaker season 2. We also told about Waller, and Peacemaker's team is going to show up in Waller to help her. So honestly, I don't even know how this came up for me as news when I was doing the roundup. I don't. Did you think we were going to see him again, Joe?
I'll be honest, I totally forgot who it was until I had clicked the link,
Yeah.
and I mean, makes sense. He was in Suicide Squad. He was in Peacemaker. Why would he not show up again? I mean, he'll. All this says is he'll probably be in Waller. He'll probably be in Peacemaker season 2. Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Like,
Same.
fine. I mean, unless there was some bad blood between the actors, which I'd never heard anything, so
There was not.
I would have been surprised if he had not shown up in season 2.
Same. I just like I said, I was a little shocked. There's a better story that I found that really made me happy. It made me smile and chuckle, and that was Jack Black accepting the new Superman role from James Gunn. Did you watch
Yeah,
this video, Joe? This
that
was
was a
so funny.
fun video.
Yes,
I love Jack Black. He's so great.
it's so good when he has his dad there on the cape.
Faster, Dad.
Flap hard,
Faster.
flap harder, Dad, flap harder. Opens to Jack Black just answering the phone, saying it was James Gunn, and reluctantly agreeing to be Superman. And then we get a little montage of him flying around. He's wearing the Man of Steel Superman suit. It is hilarious. Please go check it out, listeners.
It's great.
It definitely will give you a chuckle today. Um, James Gunn has confirmed that he's almost done casting the voice actors for DC Studios' first series, Creature Commandos. I think I put it here in the show notes. I think this links back to what Frank Grillo uh, posted on Instagram earlier. I think he's going to be that bearded guy in the lineup of characters, the
Yeah.
bearded general. I don't know his
I
name. I didn't
look. I don't know the names. I'll know the names when the show
when the
gets closer.
show's yeah, same.
I don't know the
So,
names now.
but still, it's like I said, it's good to see this getting in motion. I hope we see this in 2024 instead of 2025.
I would
And
love for it.
the thing that is super important about these castings is James Gunn said the people that play the animated versions in DCU will show up as those characters in the DCU.
Mhm.
So if these animated voice actors, you could see them as if you see villains in this, we could see more. We could see those actually show up in DCU. I'm very interested to see how that's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, I think the final piece of news we have here, Lady Gaga they're mixing it up a little bit in terms of Harley Quinn and Joker. Harley is not going to be the psychiatrist that we know. Instead, she's going to be a inmate in the asylum, like a patient like Joker. What do you think about this change?
Intriguing, really, because I mean, it makes sense,
Yeah,
especially since it is basically, for what we have heard, the story is based off of Mad Love. No, not
yeah.
Mad Love. Yeah, no,
No, I can't remember what it's based off of.
Mad Love was
Harley and
Harley and Poison Ivy.
yeah.
Um, apologies. Apparently, I don't know what this one's based off of.
Eh,
Um, it is the little bit we have seen, like teaser posters, this picture. It definitely seems like they have a relationship.
mhm.
Now, we all assumed it would be because she's his presiding doctor, and then she falls for him, and he manipulates her. But for her to be an inmate and them meet up and start to build this relationship, it's intriguing.
Yes, that's a word I would use. I'm interested to see how they're gonna do this. I only watched the first Joker once, but I could understand its brilliance. I don't know how this second film is going to fare, but when you have these kind of actors bringing it, I can only imagine these performances going to be well. I trust his storytelling, Tab Phillips. I don't know what kind of story he's going to try and hide in a comic book film this time, because the last time was basically Taxi Driver homage uh, in a
Fair.
comic book film. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do this time. But make your changes, because this isn't like Batman isn't in this. This is like its own little thing. So you do whatever you want to do. You've already earned the clout with the last film.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. That's true.
when you put your fingers in Bruce Wayne's mouth and nobody really even talks about that being weird or anything, you're on your own little level of doing things. So you do you. That wrapped up the news for us, Joe. Let's take our final ad break of the evening before we just wrap things up here. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. Before we talk about some good things, I have to get some not so good things out of the way. Travis talks about Flash season 9, episode 3, Rogues of War. So, premise for this episode sounds really interesting. Flash needs to get a group of rogues together to infiltrate a top secret base to steal a piece of tech to prevent Red Death from getting it. Oh my god, that sounds super interesting. This is the final season of the show. We need a rogue with heat powers. We need a rogue with ice powers. What are we going to do here, Joe? We need a rogue. What's the plan? Final season.
I mean, if you were a good writer, you would go back and grab the actors that did those roles in previous seasons. But we are talking about Flash writers. So something tells me they didn't do that.
Well, they kind of did, but they just decided, yeah, we're going to forget about when the show was really good, and we're going to start going back probably season 5. So season 4. So no, maybe season 5. So we're going to cut off there, and we're just going to go forward. And they choose this fire guy that I can't remember season 7 or season 8. He showed up, and he almost put Central City under a volcano, turned him into a volcano, but still he was instead of Heat Wave, Mick Rory. Why wouldn't you do that? And then you get Chillbane instead of Captain Cold. So just mind-boggling how you don't bring those characters back. And don't tell me like you could have just said Crisis brought them back. You didn't need to, like, they've already done that and changed genders for several characters and changed identities for several characters. Just a Crisis, he come back different. So yeah, that was so frustrating. Some of the heist was interesting. I did enjoy Hartley being there again. He was the one rogue that made sense. They brought Goldfinger in, or Gold Guy with the gold chains. I don't know if you probably stopped watching at that point.
I stopped watching after. When was
Amunet Black. Actually, I think you stopped watching season 5, and that's when he was introduced. I think
No, I think it was
maybe season 6.
season 6.
Yeah, well,
Because
he
it
was
was,
introduced as a gang guy who
yes,
runs
it
a
was
gang.
dealing with uh, what's Iris in the mirror thing.
Yeah, Mirrorverse. That's season 6, I think.
Yeah, I watched season 6.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
you've definitely seen this guy, and he's forgettable. Uh,
look, most of
Goldfinger.
everything but season 1 was forgettable. Let's be
Yeah, it was
honest.
all about Barry trusting the rogues, and that was like, oh my god, we've literally done this before. He's learning the antithesis of the option before, where Captain Cole stabbed him in the back, and all the rogues tried to kill him in Rogue Air. He here needs to try, like, have the villains trust him. So what do you think he's gonna do, Joe? Take off my man. I'm gonna trust you. I'm Barry. I'm Barry. I'm Barry.
He does
So
that.
yeah, they all find out he's Barry, all the rogues. So
So here's the thing. Recently, and I guess I say this like a year, recently being a year ago, um, was reading the Flash comics,
yeah,
the 1986 Flash comics, the ones that came out after Crisis.
yeah,
So Wally West is
yeah,
the Flash. In that, Ron and I made a joke that Wally is literally telling everybody that he's the Flash
yeah.
because he meets some random woman that he finds attractive. Hey, I'm the Flash. I took over the Flash from Barry Allen. He was Flash before me. It's like, why are you telling literally everybody? This
Yeah.
sounds like that.
Well, he's like, I need him to trust me, so you know what I got to do and reveal my identity. I must do. It was just nobody's told him that this is your final season. That's what it feels like while I'm watching this. It doesn't feel like it. And the I am vengeance stuff that going around, like I may have even seen worse in the CW. Like I don't think it's that like as bad. Like that doesn't bother me as much as Barry literally saying there's a bat symbol on that villain's chest. Who could it be? And then they find out 5 seconds later that Batwoman has been missing. And you're like, come on,
Hmm.
guys! Like you've been hero for 8 seasons now. This is ninth season. You're like, what's going on here? You still don't know. Like this is so yeah. Hella frustrating. I'm here for episode 9. It's just dragging me along under the car, towing me as we're going along there. So
Gonna be
yeah,
great.
that's frustrating.
You're gonna make it out on the other side, and your sanity is still gonna be there. Maybe.
I have a Green Arrow appearance. I have a Green Arrow appearance.
Okay.
So, Joe, what do you think about your Superman and Lois episodes? Like something definitely far better than what I had the
Well, you say that.
privilege of watching.
You say far better. I don't know if it's far better. So I watched episodes 7, 8, and 9. 7 was Jonathan getting caught with the XK,
Yeah,
then getting suspended. And then there was a whole side story with Superman. Superman was captured by Anderson. Anderson's a prick,
yeah,
and he goes AWOL. So like this episode alone got me like scratching my head because the dogs come into the school. The principal yells, "Everybody step away from your locker," and everybody does. Everybody walks away except for Jonathan and his girlfriend Candace because she's the one selling the XK.
yeah,
He grabs it and they're still just standing there, and the dog catches him. Like, you're an idiot. Okay, fine, whatever. Um, Anderson one capturing Superman and then potentially almost killing him. To then, toward the end of the episode, Anderson is taking the XK for himself and automatically gets these powers like immediately, which
yeah,
definitely confused me because we had seen before when everybody was taking it powers progressed. You got strength,
yeah.
maybe a little bit of speed, but that was really about it. Powers came later after
Yes,
using it for some time. Now, maybe you could say that's tied to your emotions, and that's how because he's so angry at Superman,
you
that
feel
could
that.
be the reason why. But I don't know. Let's see. Episode 8 was
More
let's see.
fallout from the stealing drugs where he wouldn't tell
That's
whose it was.
yeah, that's Jonathan. I know. Natalie. I did find this interesting. Is that Natalie jumped into the ship like immediately after uh, John Henry had left orbit, and so she was potentially following him, only to be him go through, and then she goes through, and she gets stuck. So that like I like that because that explains why she spent the last year, in space, and then finally lands next to
Yeah,
John Henry. That one was fun. Him forgetting about his Lois dying was interesting. But the big thing that I really kind of took away from this one was, well, two big things. One was what's her name? Sarah.
yeah,
So her parents, the Cushings, Lana and Kyle, are obviously split.
yeah,
Lana is dealing with trying to become the mayor, and so Sarah is having a bunch of like problems, and she's got nobody to talk to. So she's like, "Well, who can I talk to? Who can I talk to? How about the girl I made out with at camp?"
yep.
Okay, that's
Mm,
that's a choice.
Sometimes when the only justification I can come up with is teenagers making teenage choices is what they're
Well,
thinking
and
when they're writing
he
this.
made it
Maybe.
out like she was saying how that Audrey, I think her name is.
Yeah,
Aubrey.
Aubrey.
How like her parents were divorced, and so like I can see the line of thought.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, well, you got Natalie over here. Why not talk to her? You were starting to become friends with her. Things seem to be kind of cool.
That was
And
my thought as well when watching it, Joe. I had the
that,
same
that
thought.
was that one was annoying. And then you've got Ali.
Alston.
Oh, thank you, Alston. I can never remember her last name. Getting a bunch of people and taking them to the next world.
Yeah.
Only there was a problem because the suits they were wearing were potentially killing the people that were going through. I know Lois and General Lane thought that Lucy went through and is potentially dead, but then they find her, and Lucy is still brainwashed by Allie because she gets General Lane's key card to then get Allie free. And then we go into the next episode, and instead of Lucy getting Allie free, oh no, it's one of the other military people that sets her free. So why did she need to drug General Lane to then get his key card?
I don't know if she gave her the key card.
But
Gave the other person.
she worked there. Like I'm
I
sure
don't
she already had
understand,
access.
Joe. That the second season is riddled with
It's
some of these
starting to be
mistakes.
like, yeah, it's starting to
Yeah,
be problematic.
you get a couple
Um,
good episodes in the future here and
okay,
some
good.
really good episodes.
Like and so this last episode, episode 9, Clark goes into, I think at the very end of no, very beginning of this episode, he goes into the inverse world, into the other
Yeah,
world, and then he's gone for a month.
yeah,
Okay. So this is Lois trying to deal with that. You got Jonathan who still isn't telling Lois anything. And then you have Jordan dealing with everything with Sarah that he's not dealing with. And I know we've got the mirror election, which Lana wins. Um, there is potentially she's trying to not give Kyle any ground, which is weird because they see like when my ex and I divorced, it was like 2 years before we were on any sort of cordial like talking grounds, and here it is has been like barely a month, and they're still talking, which is good for the kids, I guess, but they're still on talking terms, which is whatever. Um, let's see all that. Lois finds out that Jordan is helping people. Whatever,
I
fine.
enjoyed the whole
That
Jordan
was,
story
yeah,
in
I
that
thought that was
episode.
cool.
Yes,
But
very Smallville vibes for me with him helping and
right.
hold up. Yeah,
But potentially these last couple episodes, especially episode 8, there was like 4 storylines, and I had no idea what the hell was going on with any of them.
yeah. Like I said, season 2 is muddied at
But
times.
this one ends, episode 9 ends with Bizarro John coming
Yeah,
in. And
yeah,
I do remember seeing pictures of John in a Superboy-esque
yeah,
costume. Now this makes sense. Um, at the same time, I am very curious why Bizarro Superman was all cracked
yeah.
and nobody else in that world isn't. I'm sure.
You will
I know.
see soon. You
I'll
will
say the
see
next
soon.
episode is potentially all in there, so I'm pretty certain I'll see. But it's just like, why? What's the why?
It's cool too. I think it's pretty cool.
But so far, like, I this season has been fine.
It's a
I've been
step
watching
down
it.
from
I've been a little
from the
bored
first season.
though.
It's a
So,
step down from the first
oh yeah,
season.
first season was amazing.
Yes. So, well, like, I don't know if it's going to get much better. There's a couple of really good episodes that you'll have to
Yeah, I
watch.
only got
I
6
mean,
left, and then
yeah.
we'll be into season 3.
Then season 3 will be started. So, yeah, that's uh, like I said, the third episode is probably my favorite of the ones that you watched there.
Okay.
Uh, of those 3. Okay, Joe, we got one final thing to talk about, and that is our Smallville retro recaps. We're doing season 2, episode 7, Lineage. I've really I'll talk about the Talkville for a quick second before we talk about the episode. They had Annette O'Toole on for the interview, and I thought that was
Yeah.
awesome. I smiled the whole time she was talking. She's super positive, super happy. Except the one thing she didn't like was she didn't get a chance to meet Chris Freeze when he started in the show. And
The one episode. Yeah.
when she said Clark could have brought his mother, I was like, that worked out perfectly in the story. I don't know
Make
why you
yeah.
wouldn't do that. Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
really cool, but I really enjoyed her interview.
Yeah, that was good. The episode itself, I remember this episode.
Banger. I loved
Um,
this episode growing up. I loved it.
so I loved it back then. Watching it now, there's a lot of problems.
Yes, but I like the backstory elements of like we're getting backstory of Clark
Oh,
and
that yes.
yeah.
But the problem I'm talking about is this lady who just wanders, who's already trespassing, and then just wanders into the Kent farm.
Yeah. And
Like
wanders into school.
wanders into the school. Like this is just normal.
Wanders into Lex's office.
Well, and then wanders into, you know,
Lionel's
drugging
pants.
Lex.
Oh yeah, Dragon Lex, sorry.
But no, like this is the possibility of Clark and Lex being brothers. That was cool to see. Um, I do remember, because Lionel tells Lex that Lucas is dead. Then the end of it is he opens up the locket and there's a locket of hair
Yeah. I
in
think Lucas
there,
is
and
in
an
this
older
season. I think he's
Lucas.
in this season. He might be in next season, but I
I
think he's
think
in
it
this
might be. I
season.
know he comes in the future. I don't
Yeah.
remember when, and maybe next season, but I know he comes in the future. Um, but no, like this is setting up a bigger world,
Yes.
which is potentially great. I love it.
I did like Clark running in and making the save with the axe. I thought that was pretty cool shot. And the Lionel screwing over Jonathan. Like Jonathan helping him get the farm and that causing all kinds of shit. I love that too.
Yeah.
Just makes Lionel's character even more greasy. It's and the way Donald, Glover is amazing. Glover is amazing in the role. I just love him so much, especially when
Yep.
he's being super evil. Like he's more concerned about his son losing all his hair than if his son's okay.
Well, yeah, because he's got Image to take care of,
Yeah,
and that was always his problem from the get go. That's
yeah.
why he was freaked out when it happened in episode 1. With what?
Dog just barked.
Oh, you hear? Oh, I heard ghost steps is what I heard. But okay.
But yeah, that pretty much wraps up our Smallville retro recap for this week. Joe, it was really enjoyable. I can't wait to see what the next episode has entail.
Yeah, I know it's what Ryan, I believe.
Yeah,
So Ryan's coming back, and I I know on Talkville, Michael starts talking, and Tom's like stops him real quick, like, listen here, listeners, like Michael texts me saying that we're like Smallville's back. This episode, next episode are the best. He was super excited. So don't listen to his blase tone that he's saying right now. Like, okay. Like I also do remember the Ryan episode.
same.
I'm looking forward to seeing that again because I haven't watched any of this stuff since it aired. Like season 1 and 2, I think I watched them a couple different times, maybe up to season 4. But like after that, I'd watch it the one time and then not watch it again. So I'm looking forward to seeing all these.
I've rewatched this once or twice, but it's been a while, so I'm really enjoying these going through these episodes. So, listeners, that's it for this episode this week. We'll be back next week with more DC goodness. Joe, tell the listeners where they can find you before we get out of here this evening.
You guys can find me on Twitter at _actually_. You can find the show, my show, A Walk Through the Multiverse, on Twitter at WalkTheVerse. And obviously I'm here and also part of Ranger Alliance. And you can find my other show, Comic Book Rundown, on Twitter at Comic Rundown and on Instagram at Comic Book Rundown.
You can find me on Twitter at Travis_156. You can drop me a line. We can chat about pretty much anything. I also host the Animation Nation podcast on the GWA Podcast Network as well. Thanks, everyone. Joe, see you next week.
Have a good one.